For most of last century and the century before, recruitment was simple and straightforward. If you had a vacancy, there was a couple of ways that you would fill that vacancy. Firstly, you might run an ad in the local newspaper and invite people to submit their resume. Or, if you had a shop, you put a notice in the shop window or on the board out the front of your factory, and you invited people to apply within. And it worked. You interviewed people, maybe for a second time, you reference checked people, or maybe you didn't, and you hired someone. And it worked in the olden days. All art, no science. Why did it work in the olden days? Well, the economy was slow moving and predictable. Organisations were slow moving and predictable. And jobs were slow moving and predictable. But most of all, if it didn't work out, there was always somebody else to take that person's place. But in the last 15 to 20 years, there's been a dramatic change in the Australian employment marketplace. And there are three major trends that have occurred in that period of time to completely shape the market in a different way. The first one has been demographic change, which has caused a dramatic shrinkage in the supply for labour. Most commonly, the unemployment rate has been quoted. So let's have a look at that and see what the statistics tell us from the ABS. Back in the depths of the last recession, the recession we had to have, November 1992 was when unemployment peaked, 11.2%. Let's go fast forward to the most recent boom, and unemployment was now below 500,000 people, 3.9%. But that only tells part of the story. Let's overlay that with the vacancy data, and we get an even starker picture. Vacancies have gone up by a factor of 5. So what's happened is, even though the unemployment rate has gone down by 2/3, the ratio of unemployed to vacancies has plummeted 90%, from 25 to 1 to 2.6 to 1. Hence, the candidate shortage. The second major trend, which is related to this, is the skill shortage. So again, let's have a look at the ABS data and let's see what that tells us to see whether this skill shortage is fact or fiction. This is data from May last year, and we have the skills clusters in the employment sector. And the dark blue bars represent the proportion of the workforce according to each of the skills clusters. So the higher education and the skilled vet comprised 54% of the workforce in May 2008. Other vet and low skilled comprised 46%. But the real story is shown in the growth. And here we have the growth over a 5-year period. That's the light blue bars. And what that tells us is, in that 5-year period, higher education and skilled vet comprise 77% of the new jobs created in that 5-year period. And other vet and low skill comprise only 23%. So more simply put, in that 5-year period, for every 4 new jobs that were created, 3 were for highly skilled people and 1 was for a lower skilled person. The third major change has been the globalisation of the workforce. The ABS estimates that between 1 million and 1.1 million Australians are out of the country at any one point in time, of which between 600,000 and 700,000 people are working. And this article from the AFR just gives you a snapshot. Australians are in demand. We speak English, we're highly skilled, we're mobile. And KPMG in Russia, the Ukraine and Belarus are very interested in our accountants. They asked Link, who are now part of Grandstand, to go and find audit managers, 22 of them, and audit supervisors, 20 of them, to go and work in the old Soviet Union. You don't need any language skills other than English. You can earn between 128,000 and 203,000 Australian. Tax rate 13%. And of course the options of spending your weekend in Paris, London or Amsterdam. If you're a young, skilled Australian accountant, why wouldn't you be interested in that? So these three trends have led to this realisation in the corporate world, summarised succinctly by Fortune magazine 3.5 years ago. However, over the last 6 to 7 years, it is the rise of one organisation in particular that has completely changed the game in the recruitment world. And that organisation is Google. No matter the brilliance of Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, to fulfil their vision, it was critical to hire, develop and retain highly talented people. The same highly talented people that their technology rivals, Apple and Microsoft, were also employing or would like to employ. So let me share with you some data that reveals just how successful Google have been compared to their two major West Coast rivals in an extraordinarily short period of time. Let's start with sales. In 2002, Google was not a publicly listed company, so we can't use their market cap. But as you can see here, comparing sales, Google compared to Apple was small, Google compared to Microsoft was tiny. Let's fast forward to this week, the market cap on the NASDAQ. Google, which was 6% the size of Apple, is now 74% the size of Apple. Google, that was less than 2% the size of Microsoft, is now 51% the size of Microsoft. But that's not the most impressive thing. This is profit per employee, the holy grail. $209,000 profit per employee for Google, streaks ahead of Apple, and just pips Microsoft. Not bad. Not bad. So how have Google achieved this? Well, I would assert that the foundation has been getting their recruitment right, both the art and the science. But today's talk is not about Google recruitment. I don't have time for that. And if you're interested, there's a book called The Google Story by David Weiss. It's excellent reading. Or go onto the ERE.net site and check any of Dr. John Sullivan's articles about Google recruitment. I'm using Google as an inspiration for what's possible when you get the art and the science of recruitment right. So let's talk about the science first. In other words, the use of technology each step of the way to get the best possible hiring outcome. I believe there are 7 steps in the science of recruitment that not just Google, but other organisations that are leading utilise in their recruitment processes. And they are these. Firstly, technology to attract candidates. Career sites, videos being examples. Technology to source candidates. Job boards, social media, LinkedIn, Twitter. You'll hear a lot about that today. Thirdly, technology to screen candidates. So those that have got the basic skills, knowledge and experience. The first step of the way. Are these candidates in fact eligible to apply? Because once we regard them as eligible, we then can assess them to see whether they're suitable. Are they suitable for this job in this organisation, in this business unit? The fifth way that technology is used, or the science of recruitment, is capturing and building relationships. So most typically through applicant tracking systems, ATSs or CRMs, customer relationship management systems. Sixth, using technology to complete the recruitment process. In other words, online letters of offer, online terms of employment, online conditions, not generating paperwork. And the 7th way is keeping score. In other words, a dashboard. How do you know where your candidates are sourced from? Which is your best source? How many candidates that you interviewed did you offer? How many that you offered accepted? How many accepted that started? What's your individual recruiter performance? How many positions are they filling on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Statistics, keeping score, is one of the critical things that top recruitment processes are right on top of.